Hans Wormhat. This is a really quick introductory video on Joshua's long day, and it's a miracle that people don't really talk about very often. At least I don't really hear people talk about it. It's not known in the same way as, say, something like Noah's Ark. And to me, it's very similar to Noah's Ark in that there's a lot of ancient historical accounts, and I do believe. So when you hear like, oh, every culture has a flood story, I do believe that. I believe that these tales came from somewhere, and I believe it's one of those hiding the truth in plain sight and mixing reality with fantasy. They want you to think that these these things are fantastical and passe and couldn't possibly be true. Thinking of things like flat Earth and God, they want you to think that those things are fantastical, and then they want you to believe in the most ridiculous things like outer space fantasy land, and it's a mind prison. And this type of strange shilling behavior have NASA computers prove Joshua's long day. When people try to prove the Bible using fake NASA stuff, it's like a whole different level of perversion, in my opinion. I think that this is kind of when Jesus talks about people trying to jump the gate to get into heaven. It's like these gatekeepers that they know the secret, but in their mind, they're being good somehow because they're like, well, I'm trying to prove the Bible. Just so me personally, the person that I know that's like this, it was my high school physics teacher. And so it's like, you're the person there at school teaching the most insane stuff that is literally there to take people away from God. And at the same time, the way that they would try to do it, it's like this teacher would go out of their way to say, well, but Earth is in the solar system in this area and it's just perfect. It's like he would be insinuating that, oh, don't worry, guys, it isn't just all random. It was made this way perfectly because this person who ran the astronomy class also ran the Christian club at that school. It's also twisted and strange because this person, they have an email address with 777 in it. They are an invert, so they know that it's all BS, and they're teaching these classes that are all BS, and they know it's all BS, but they're trying to put their own spin on it where, like, oh, I'm still Christian because I'm trying to pretend like the Bible is compatible with NASA. And at least I'm doing my best trying to say, like, God made sure that this NASA place was perfect, instead of just coming out and saying, no, it's all a big lie, which is clearly the truth. It's all a big lie. It's a big production. Props. You're looking at props. Well, hopefully my point was conveyed. That was kind of a... I don't know if I directly said my point, which is there's gatekeepers who think that they are pious, but all that they will preach to you is NASA outer space fantasyland instead of coming out and saying the truth, which is, no, it's flat. The Bible, it's flat. It's flat. It's not moving. Outer space is not real. Joshua chapter 10, verses 12 and 13. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou, moon, in the valley of Ajalon. Notice how much more connected. Joshua just knew where the sun was and where the moon also was at the same time. People used to know where things were. And nowadays, part of their deception is they make you think that you're spinning and flying, and they make you think it's so complicated, but it's really not that complicated. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Jasher? Or Yasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. So, and this is what a lot of the accounts say, that for a full 24 hours, the sun didn't move, and the moon didn't move. It's like everything stopped for a whole day. It's like the movie, or the book, or whatever, the day the earth stood still. Although, of course, that's the Babylonian flip on it. It's the day the sun stood still. And notice, Joshua knew the truth. Sun, stand thou still. It's the sun that moves. We don't move. So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that, before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. So God performed a miracle, and this is just more of that NASA BS. So I'll try to finish up. The point is no matter what I looked at online talking about the Joshua's long day, out of the woodwork come all these people that are like, well, maybe a comet flies by and slows down the rotation of the earth. It's just like absurd, the lengths that these people go to, instead of just saying NASA is BS. The sun stopped moving and the moon stopped moving because those are the things that are moving. The sun not moving and the earth and the moon not moving, that doesn't make any sense in NASA Outer Space Fantasyland. These pastors or these people who claim to be Christians, instead of stating the obvious, which is, yeah, the long day really happened, it's because NASA Outer Space Fantasyland is not real. So no, they try to make all these weird things. Well, maybe a comet flew by, or maybe and yeah, the main point of this video, that's not compatible. You can't support NASA Outer Space Fantasyland and try to twist the Bible to fit that. It doesn't fit it. Because that's just not the truth. I thought this was interesting. I didn't look into it. That's why this is more introductory and more making a statement about all the gatekeepers out there, that they know that it's flat and BS, but they try to be a good guy somehow by making it compatible and selling a false story. But I thought this was interesting. The solid black circles show locations with tales of a long night, because some places it was stuck night for a whole 24 hours longer. And I don't know, I didn't corroborate this, I didn't look into it, but according to this, it matches up, where there's a bunch of places where they have stories of a really, really long night, and there's a bunch of places that have stories of a really, really long day. To me, it reminds me of Noah's Ark. Almost everybody has a tale of a flood, a great flood, and it's because it really happened. And so here's just another thing that people can look into on their own. Joshua's long day. It might be interesting to look at these different cultures, their stories, and yeah, it's real life. God bless everyone.